You know that feeling, right? You get this incredible idea. You're going to start a business, run a marathon, finally learn guitar, and you are so excited you just have to tell everyone. But then, what happens? A week goes by and that fire you felt just fizzles out. Well, today we're digging into a really counterintuitive idea, the power of silence, and how shouting your goals from the rooftops might actually be the one thing that's keeping you from ever reaching them.
So, here's the game plan. We're going to start with this weird paradox, then unpack it with a story. After that, we'll dive into the actual psychology of why this happens. And finally, we'll look at how you can use all this to actually protect your own dreams and make them happen. All right, let's jump right into this central conflict. It's that amazing feeling of sharing our big plans versus the quiet, kind of confusing reality that often comes after.
I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. You get that amazing rush, that feeling of pure potential. You post about it, you tell your friends, you tell your family, and everyone's like, wow, that's amazing. You get all this validation. And then, a week later, crickets. The project is just sitting there. Sound familiar? Why on earth does this happen so often?
Well, here's the wild part. The core idea is that the very act of talking about your goal can actually trick your brain. It confuses the satisfaction you get from people praising your idea with the satisfaction of actually doing the work. It's like you're draining the battery before you even turn the car on. And to really see this in action, let's look at a story.
Yeah, this whole paradox is just perfectly laid out in the story of a man named Simon. Okay, so picture this small village, and in it lives Simon. And Simon is a man who is just full of ambition. One week he announces he's going to open the biggest shop the village has ever seen. The next, he's going to become a master potter. But Simon has this one little habit. Before he lays a single brick, before he even touches a piece of clay, he tells everybody about his grand plan. And this right here became Simon's life, stuck in a loop. He'd announce the plan, and the villagers would cheer him on. That's incredible, Simon. He'd feel so proud, so successful. But that feeling of success, that was the finish line for him. The praise he got completely replaced his need to actually do the work. And so every single project was just left behind.
So as you can imagine, Simon starts feeling like a total failure, confused and ashamed. And that's when a quiet village elder approaches him. Now, seeing Simon's frustration, the elder doesn't lecture him. No. Instead, he just offers to show him something. A simple but really powerful demonstration.
And what the elder does next is just brilliant. He takes 2 seeds. One, he plants quietly in the soil, away from everyone's eyes, and he nurtures it in silence. The other seed, he holds it up for the whole village to see and admire and praise. And then he just leaves it on a rock in the sun. Of course, the silent seed, the one protected in the dark, grows into a strong plant. But the announced one, the praised one, it withers and dies. The message couldn't be clearer. Some dreams, just like seeds, need to be protected in the dark if they're ever going to grow.
Now, this parable isn't just a nice little folktale. It's actually a perfect illustration of a very real psychological principle that affects all of us.
The elder's wisdom just hits the nail on the head. All that praise, all that encouragement, all those pats on the back, they give us this premature sense of accomplishment. It feels good, but it's dangerous.
And get this, there's actually a scientific name for what's happening here. It's called social reality. When we announce what we plan to do and other people acknowledge it, our brain gets this little hit of dopamine that makes the goal feel like it's already a part of who we are. We basically get the social reward without ever doing the work.
So here's the real kicker. Your brain doesn't really know the difference between the pleasure of being praised for planning to do something and the pleasure of actually doing it. You end up spending all of that precious initial motivational fuel on talking, which leaves you with an empty tank when it's time for the hard part.
So Simon's stuck in this trap. How did he finally break the cycle? Well, he started to understand the real power of silence, and it completely changed his life. Simon took that elder's lesson to heart. He picked one small, manageable goal: build a single wooden chair. And this time, he told no one, not a soul. Every evening, he just quietly worked. There was no praise, no cheering, and no pressure. His only announcement was the finished chair itself, standing there for everyone to see. And then, he did it again. A table, then a shelf, building a brand new life for himself, one silent project at a time.
And in this quiet new process, Simon discovered something way more valuable than the fleeting praise of the village. He found that deep internal satisfaction that can only come from making something real. It was a pride that came from his own hands, not from other people's words. Over time, Simon became one of the most respected craftsmen around. His reputation wasn't built on his big announcements or empty promises anymore. It was built on the solid, undeniable quality of his work. His actions, finally, were doing all the talking for him.
Simon's story is a fantastic lesson, right? But it's most powerful when we figure out how to apply it to our own lives. So how can you protect your own dreams from this trap of getting praised too early?
Okay, here's your action plan. The very next time a big, exciting idea hits you, just pause. Take a breath, resist that powerful, powerful urge to immediately post about it. Instead, take all of that initial energy and channel it into taking the very first physical step, no matter how small it is. Protect that new, fragile idea like it's a seed you've just planted, and let your progress, your actual, tangible results, be the only announcement you make.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. What about that goal you've been putting off? That big dream you've talked about 100 times but never actually started? What might happen if, starting right now, you decided to just stop talking and start building? What great thing will you build in silence?